Robin Slim Show.
Yes, is this Rob?
Yes.
Yes, honey, yes. I had been calling, but no one was picking up. Then I said, and I called Valerie, and she sent you an email, but then I thought to myself, maybe it was because I was coming up as a block caller.
No, we were just outside real quick. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, honey, okay. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good, honey, I'm good. So you guys are based in New Jersey?
Yes,
Yep.
we are.
Okay, good.
Where are you out of?
I'm in New York, honey. I'm in.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so we're on the phone with your name's Robin, right?
Yes, Robin Kaamil.
Okay. And your big thing is you're trying to free this orca named Lolita, which I know a little bit about because I did start watching a documentary on it. But
Okay.
so what is it you're trying to do? You're trying to get them to let this orca free, right? Because they've had it for like.
Yes, let her go back home, honey, where she came from. Yes.
Right.
Free. Let Lolita go, honey.
Would
Let her
she
go.
survive
She's been
in the
there for
wild?
44 years.
Would she survive though? Because you said 40 years she was captured. Like, can she go back into?
Well, the thing of it is, the Orca Network has a retirement plan for her, which includes moving her to a 900-foot bay, and where she would be cared for by humans, and then they would gradually reintroduce her into the wild. And if for some reason she weren't able to survive on her own, they would just keep her in that bay. But a 900-foot bay is much better and more comfortable and more humane than a 35-foot tank.
Yeah.
So where she's staying now.
Now, my friend Matt said he watched the actual. There's a documentary on it.
Blackfish.
Yeah, and he
Pretty-
Yes.
how their fins
Yeah, that's
actually.
about SeaWorld, yes. The train is from SeaWorld, yes.
The fins actually go limp, kind of. They like bend when they're in captivity.
Yeah, like that whale from Free Willy.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Keiko the whale.
Yeah, and they drug them, honey, so it's all of
Wow.
that.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, honey, it's a hot mess. Anything for $1, honey. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So now, what
Okay.
Robin, what else do you do besides just trying to get this whale free? Like, what do you do as a profession?
Well, as a professional, darling, I'm a writer. I'm also an advice diva. I'm the official advice diva for DNA magazine in Australia. I'm also
That's
an
cool.
actress. I recently went into the off-Broadway show, My Big Gay Italian Wedding, which has been running for 10 years now.
Wow.
So my last performance is November 15th. So, in between all of that, honey, I decided to help Miss Lolita, okay?
That's really cool. You're doing a lot. You got a lot on your plate. That's really neat.
Well, honey, you know how it is in New York, honey. You got to keep
Yeah.
the hustle on. It's a 99 balls in the air, honey, and don't drop one because that's the end of you.
Did you grow up in New York?
Oh yes, honey. I would never be able to do that if I didn't, honey. You have to be, coming out your mama's womb, knowing how to grind.
That's cool. Yeah. I lived up.
Yeah.
I lived up in North Jersey. Most of my, till I was like 18, 19, and I'd wanted to get into acting, and it was just. I got stuck moving down to South Jersey, and I just couldn't do it. It was just, too far and all. But that's what I wanted to do.
Well, yeah, South Jersey's too far. I come down to Atlantic City, honey, so I know how far that is.
Yeah.
South Jersey is far.
We're right by
It's
there.
far.
Yeah.
It's far.
Because
Yeah.
at
And,
first when I
it's
moved here, I went on some auditions, and it was just too much, the commute and all.
Yeah, it's a lot, honey. It's a lot from there. It's a lot, and it's hard. And then it becomes more of a grind. That 2.5 hour commute. Yeah.
And I actually had same thing. I had an interview for a radio station, and it was going to just be an unpaid internship, and I couldn't afford that commute and all that. So
Right.
it
right,
was just I
right.
couldn't do it.
So now,
But did you ever think about moving closer to the city? Because some parts of North Jersey you can be into Manhattan in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was. I lived like 15, 20 minutes from there. I was in Bergen County, and
Right.
I still have family members up there, but it's just been so long since I've been up there, and I don't know,
Well, if you have so many, when did you move to South Jersey?
It was like 95.
Okay, so you've been there a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, honey. Yeah, because the next bet for you, honey, because Philadelphia is closer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Philadelphia is closer.
Yeah.
Yes, honey. Yeah.
now
yeah,
you said you said you're an actress. Do you just do like the theater productions, or have you been in any films?
Well, I have been in some films. I was in the film Bear City, the movie, and Violent Tendencies, starring Mindy Cohen from Facts of Life. She was a little chubby one on Facts of Life.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago. Yeah, so it's mostly independent film.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
with all the things you do, what do you enjoy the most? Because you said you're a writer, you're an actress. Like, do you have one thing that you love more than the other things that you do?
No, not really. I mean, I just love the creative process. I love not having the grind of a 9 to 5. You know, sometimes it gets a little crazy because you don't know what's coming in and where it's coming from. But you know, I did the corporate thing with the 9 to 5 gig, and it's very stressful. And now it's even more stressful. I'm basically the last drop out of everybody. So there's no more 9 to 5. It's like 9 to 12 or whenever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear that.
I got a question. It kind of relates to the whale. It's kind of like it's actually about just animals in general. One of the a couple of years ago, there was that woman that had that chimp that went like it went
in Boston.
ballistic. Yeah. And it chewed that woman's face off. Now, do you think, like, I personally believe that woman should have been prosecuted for what happened, not just for the woman getting her face chewed off, but also for the way they had to put down that chimp, for the way that chimp was living, you know what I mean? Because they're real smart animals, you know?
Yes. Well, you know something, the thing of it is that people have to understand that when you have animals who are used to living in the wild, they're not used to being domesticated like dogs or cats. And you cannot take it upon yourself, especially if you have no veterinarian experience, you have no experience as a,
trainer,
zoology experience, and you really don't understand. You just think it's cute and think the neighbors will think you hip if you have a boa constrictor or a monkey in your house, because you know there was a case in Florida where this guy had a boa constrictor in the damn trailer, and he got in the baby's crib and killed his baby. So so people have to be aware of these things. These are wild animals, and you know they're not dogs and cats who have been domesticated. So you have to be careful, and you have to take responsibility for those that you live in close proximity to, just in case that little thing jumps out somewhere and attacks someone. Because I mean, it's on you at the end of the day. Yes. And even the fate of the animal, because when an animal attacks or someone or kills them, they have to put them down.
Well, I mean, because from what I understand, they gave that chimp like Xanax and whatnot, and it's known to cause aggression in human beings, and you know, being that their physiology is almost completely like ours, like that of a human being's, you would think that would just be a bad idea, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes common sense ain't so common, honey, okay? Okay? So, you know, it's all of that, and like I said, you know, some of these animals, you have people, I have read stories here in New York where you've had people that had, there was a guy in the project, living in the projects in Harlem, had a tiger.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah.
You remember that? I mean, really, honey, a tiger in the projects? I mean, get a pit bull, but not a tiger, okay? So yeah, we have people. Sometimes they just don't use common sense. They really don't. And unfortunately, sometimes people get hurt as a result. So that's the sad part. And then of course, when that happens, they put the animal down, and you know it's sad because it's not really their fault that they were taken out of their environment and brought into an environment where they shouldn't have been. But you know that's the world we live in.
Yeah. There was a lady down here too, going back maybe like, I don't know, 10, 12 years. She lived by Great Adventure, and she had her own, I think, tigers or something on her land. And they got out. They got out and were like running the streets and all, and that was a big deal too.
Well, yes, of course, honey, because tigers get very hungry, okay? No, honey, no. What did they do with her? Did they lock her up? What did they do with the animals?
They had taken all the animals. I don't know what they did with them.
One of them they had to kill because it was too close to a neighborhood. They just...
Yes, you can't do that, honey. You can't do that. It's the same thing with people when they have like 50 cats in the house. Honey, how are you going to take care of all them cats? I mean, really.
Yeah, we had a neighbor up north, too, that had that. And I remember the cats were always getting out and getting hit by cars because they'd run off and all that. And...
Yeah, because they were trying to get away from all that damn drama in the house. It was too much for them, okay? Yes. You know, when a cat runs out the house, honey, it's bad, okay? Because, you know, they can always find a place to crawl up into a corner or something.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes, honey, yeah. So it was bad, honey. Okay?
So now, before you discovered, because I had read up on you a little bit, and I know that you went to like a film festival, and that's when you saw the PSA for Lolita. Before that, were you always into animals, or was that like the thing that got you into, you know, starting to become like an animal lover and looking into stuff like that?
Well, you know something? I've always loved animals. I had a cat my mom bought me when I was for my 6th grade graduation, and unfortunately she passed away, as they do. And it hurt me so much. I just have not been able to bring myself to get another animal. So I've always loved animals, but not to the point where I was very active in giving them a voice, because they are voiceless, you know. I mean, with us as human beings, I mean, if somebody does us wrong, honey, we can call somebody and get an attorney or to speak for us, or speak up for ourselves, but they don't have that option. So when I saw the PSA, it was very moving. The other thing too, the public service announcement, the music that was playing in the background was Amazing Grace, and I don't know, for some reason I had this aha moment. It just reminded me of the slave trade, because here you have again someone going into someone's home and taking their children and themselves and their family members and selling them for profit. So the story sounded a bit familiar to me. So that I had that epiphany, and that's when I really got involved. I thought it was just it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just think it's a little different though than the slave trade. Because you can't compare one whale to an entire race being enslaved.
Oh no! But the thing of it is, it's not just one whale, honey. I mean, they've been doing a lot of animals. They do it to animals. All of these animals that you have in these zoos and all of these marine parks. That's because Lolita is. If she were the only one, honey, it would be a different story.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
She's not the only one, unfortunately. The other thing too that people have to remember, and I remind people of, because people say, oh, you can't compare, the captivity of an animal to the captivity of a human being. But when the African slaves were brought to the shores of America, we were considered less than human. The slaves were branded like they did the horses and the cows and the rest of the cattle.
That's
so we weren't even considered human. Remember, they still have the 3/5 laws on the books, honey. Don't get me started, okay?
Well, they did sell themselves, though. The tribes were warring. We're not the, white, not the white people aren't the only ones to blame, but, the black people.
No, you're right. You're right. They
too.
did. The warring tribes started because what happened? They started selling each other,
and
to the Spaniards and the Portuguese. And then what happened?
The Arabs
the Portuguese.
also. I believe.
Yes.
And you're right. They were involved in the trade themselves because they used to capture, when they would have war with the tribes. And what happened when they start selling those slaves to the Portuguese and the Spaniards, they start thinking, well, hey, why are we just waiting for these few? Let's go in there and yank all of them. So, they did start it. It was wrong. And you're right. They were complicit in the beginning, yes.
That's what I'm saying. And as I was going to say too, I didn't think Americans were the only ones that used slavery. I thought other countries did.
Oh,
that too.
They did. But you know something? Of course, you had slavery all over. I mean, we still have slavery even today.
Yeah.
And of course, you had slaves that were brought to the Caribbean, to South America. But the U.S. Slave system was the most brutal. It was, they bred the slaves like they would breed animals. Like I said, they also branded slaves. In South America, the Spaniards were involved in that slave trade, and when Cortez and his drama, his slave was going through an inflation, they allowed a lot of the African slaves to buy their freedom. And when they would do that, they would save up money and purchase their other relatives and buy their freedom. They didn't allow that here in America, honey. Okay?
Yeah,
because sometimes the American system was more brutal. That's slavery. You had a lot of slavery in a lot of different areas, but the system here in the U.S. was more brutal.
The Romans, they've always, because they're slaves, from what I understand, like, they didn't care what part of the world the person came from, the Romans would just take anyone as slaves. And
Yes, honey. Yeah.
From what I understand, they were actually able to advance themselves from slave to citizenship. You know, if they had performed a great service for their master, or if they had, they actually were allowed to make their own money. A lot of that over here was restricted.
Okay.
Especially in the South.
That's right, because you had a lot of instances where you had slave owners who, in their wills, would grant their slaves freedom. If they had favorite slaves or some of their slaves, and they would give them the attorneys would then hand them their quote unquote freedom papers, and sometimes they could just be in a town and someone see them and they tear up the damn papers and it would be nothing they could do about it. So it was a very, very different system. It was a very different system.
Huh.
Yes. So glad we moved on from all of that, honey, and overcame.
Definitely.
Yes. But the reason I make those comparisons is to hopefully invoke some action in folks. When they see, because when they see the parallels, or if they can possibly see what I saw with Lolita's situation and the slave trade, certainly not to compare it, because it's certainly a very different and brutal system, especially here in the U.S., but to have someone come into your home, whether you be a chimp or a orca, and have someone take a baby from its mom to sell in a marine park so they can make money off people coming to see it. It's not right.
Plus, these kind of animals, like a lot of the great apes, the whales, they actually are a little bit more intelligent than, say, your cat, your dog,
Orcas have a
Well, honey, let me tell you something. I think a lot of animals are more intelligent than we give them credit for, because I tell you one thing, one of my friend's father told her, if you want to know how a man's going to treat you, you give him a dog, okay? And however he treats that dog, that's how he's going to treat you. And the other thing, too, with dogs and cats, especially with dogs, more so than cats, with dogs, if a dog doesn't like someone, honey, you better watch out.
Yeah.
Okay? If a dog does not like a person, you better watch out, because they are very intuitive. Their sense, I don't know, it's almost spiritual, if you will.
Yeah.
There was a case where this nanny was mistreating this infant, and the family didn't know what was going on, because all of a sudden the dog was growling at her every time she came in the house. Well, he hadn't been doing that to anybody before, and they set up a nanny cam and found out she was hitting the baby. So I think all animals, I think we do them a disservice when we don't give them as much credit in terms of their intelligence.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I've seen dogs pick up on rotten rats, honey, quicker than a human will. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yes, honey. Yes, and of course whales and dolphins. They very intelligent. Very intelligent.
Definitely.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Robin, we actually got to wrap this up. So why don't you give whatever you got to promote, tell your plugs, whatever message you need to get out, and then we'll let you go.
Yes, darling, yes. Well, listen, anyone who wants to support Lolita's cause and help us get freedom for her, they can actually go to iTunes to download the song Let Lolita Go. Let the Girl Go, Free Lolita, for 99 cents. A portion from all sales go to the Orca Network, who has set up her retirement plan. So, go there, support. There's also a big march happening in Florida on January 17th, where we're going to be protesting in front of the Miami Seaquarium. So if anyone wants to join that, they can let us know. You can reach out to me on Twitter at Let Lolita Go. Okay? So I hope everyone will join the fight. And sometimes when you come out of your own bag of tricks and drama and frustration to help someone else and lift them up, it gives you the power to see that you can do the same in your own life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robin.
Yes, thank you, boys. And let me know when you get down here to New York. We'll do a cocktail or something.
All right.
Sounds good. Take care, Robin.
All right, honey. Bye-bye.
Have a great night.
Have a good one.
You too, honey.
Bye.
Okay, she turned us.
Awesome.
She turned us.
Yeah, no, I didn't know how she would be with, just...
She answered your question very well, wasn't...
Yeah.
I guess the fear was that she was going to be too persistent on just slavery, but she was
that's what I didn't know.
a very smart woman and just very cool to talk to. That was, yeah, we were, for anyone who hasn't figured out, we were planning on just blowing up that interview, probably doing some Frankie 2 steaks and stuff like that, but she turned us around.
Or being a jerk. Like, she was really nice, really cool.
Yep.
Wasn't arrogant. She turned out to be quite a character.
Just, well-spoken.
Yep.
Not like the Messiah. Well, the Messiah, I think I don't even know what happened there. There was interns and shit.
It was, I don't know that Brad man. I don't even know where he went. He ran out all angrily.
Left, man.
Yeah.
What happened to Billy? Billy was with us. Oh, Billy we fired because of the Craig Wiener.
Oh, all right.
And Brad is
Brad was a fucking dick.
It's like we can't hire friends because they all just want to.
Friends with benefits, like Slim would say.
They all just want to.
Well, we will take a break and come back and call our good friend Mike, who was at Comic-Con a couple weeks ago, I think now.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's really cool.
We'll have a lot of fun talking to him. So, guys, we'll be back.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Love you.
Love you all.